I got the coolest thing. The coolest little tiny thing right here.
A stapler.
No. I know it kind of looks like one with the lever, but no. See, you take your piece of paper like this.
Okay.
Put it in.
It's like a puncher.
You push the lever like so. For those of you who are listening, you don't get to see it. That's what I'm doing. And then it does this cool little thing. It's called an embosser.
Oh my gosh, it's one of those things where you can like bookmark your book to be like, this is mine, don't touch it. And is that a teacup?
There's a teacup and books.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute. Who gave it to you?
My mother knows me very, very well. So anyway, it has the place of honor this week because it's so cute and lovely.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That is adorable. That is so cute. Sometimes I think of getting myself one because I'm like, it's my books. Nobody can ever have them. But then I hate it when I go to secondhand stores and then there's like, to Francesca with love, Aunt Lily. And I'm like, what up with that?
I don't know. It says from the library of Sarah Sampson. So they would at least have to have that. Wait. You have cookies? Did I see a cookie, Nell? Wait, no, not fair. Did I see a cookie?
No.
I want a cookie.
And it's so good. I mean, cookie? What cookie?
So what are you eating with your tea today?
What am I not eating is a short answer because I'm just snacking all the time.
Fair enough. So I am doing hot chocolate today because it is fall and I'm dehydrating peppers and I'm feeling very festive, even though it's not quite the festive season yet. So
I mean, I'm disappointed. Where's your pumpkin spice latte over there? Like,
you know what? I should do something pumpkin spice.
Like, honestly, am I more festive than you? Goodness gracious. Okay, well, I am drinking a jasmine tea today. I've never had jasmine tea before. And it smells delicious, can I just say? It smells like you're just walking into a clean room or something. I hope it doesn't taste like detergent, though. That would be sad. Okay, okay, this is actually very nice.
Good.
Top 5. Top 5.
We will see it again.
I feel we will. So with that, let's jump right into this episode. Welcome to Tea and Tales. We are so happy that you are here with us. I'm Madeleine Einel.
And I'm Sarah Sampson. We especially want to thank Dorothy DeCook and Josh Becker. This week, we are having a very special and different episode than we normally do. We are doing beta reading with our beta readers on call. And because of that, this will probably be 2 episodes. If you're looking and seeing that we released 2 today, this is why.
Because we have such good content and we don't want you to miss any of it.
So please welcome back to the show, Rose Lawrence, and for the first time, Connor McCall. Rose, we want to welcome you back to Tea and Tales, and Connor, your first time here. Welcome. We're so excited to see you guys and to talk about writing with you.
Thank you for having us back.
Not just writing, but beta reading, which is fantastic. Because I know in our first season, we had the lovely Rose on, and we were talking about beta readers and what they do and how they help you as a writer and the feedback that you get and all those things. But we decided that we actually want to show the listeners what a session, I almost want to say, of beta reading would look like. Because, fun fact, so Sarah and Connor are in a beta reading group together, and then Rose and I are in a beta reading group. What I've learned through our whole process of preparing for this episode is that we have such different ways of approaching beta reading, which is so fascinating and so interesting at the same time. And I don't know how you all experienced it, but yeah, I was very confused yet intrigued at the same time, because what we did is we sent out Google Docs to everyone, and then you were able to make your comments in the Google Doc. And for those of you writers who have done Google Docs, you will know that you will get a notification into your email when someone comments on your stuff. And so then it is the catch-22 of, are you going to read it now, or are you going to wait, or what are you going to do?
And that one kind of came from me and Connor, because that's how our group does it. We do Google Docs, because then we don't have to keep track of emails all day long. But we did do individual Google Docs for everyone, which is something we don't do in our group. Everyone gets the same one in our group, but you guys always do separate ones. So we split it down the middle and made sure everyone had a separate one, so that we kind of got the flavor from both of our styles. And I loved how we did that, because it made me realize that I could think about it in a different way, and that every different way of getting feedback gives me a different perspective of how my book is working or not working for people. How did it come off to you too? Did you learn anything new from trying something different?
I kind of have done the Google Doc thing before, but I've not given it to multiple people at the same time. So I did one recently where someone had my full manuscript broken into chunks. It is useful to be able to sort of comment back if you're not planning to kind of have a meetup. With this one, I found it a bit odd, just because, yes, you can see the comments straight away. And so the way we usually do it is that nobody knows the comments until we talk to each other. And so we have a discussion about what we thought of everybody's work, and maybe sometimes that sparks a new conversation where we'll go off on one or everyone will go, oh yes, me too, and then you swap the little inline notes and things with each other afterwards. So for this one, I found it interesting because you're seeing what people are saying already, and so you do kind of want to respond and like have that dialogue because it's fresh, but then you're sort of waiting because you've still got to have the meetup and talk about it there, so you almost don't want to run before the start gun goes, so I'm sort of 50-50, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, because we'd like to have a lot of our conversation through the Google Docs in our group before we actually meet and just get down into the meat. But then I made sure that I didn't write any of my comments to any of you until this morning, like hours before, or like first thing, because I knew none of you would have time to actually look at it until the meeting. So I could try to conserve that a little bit. How about you, Connor? How did you find the experience and some of the pros and cons of the way we did it?
I actually, after listening to Rose's comments, kind of wish that we had done it their way a little more, just to try it out. Like you said, we do a lot of our discussion in the comments. I think it would have been interesting to try it that way and have literally nothing until day of, and then have it really fresh when you dig into it. I do like having the discussion beforehand in the Google Docs a little bit, where, because some things you don't really need to discuss. They're just little clarification things, or if it's like you need a comma here or whatever, you don't need to discuss that. You can just put it in the doc and move on. So yeah, pros and cons to each. Would have liked to try it the other way, but yeah, we'll see how it works.
I think having the Google Doc comments is quite useful for, almost for after you've talked maybe in person, because you can sort of answer it quickly in the document instead of sending an email after the fact going, oh, does this make it better? Which sometimes happens with us. So it depends how you want to save your email, because I guess you would get emails about the comments anyway.
I probably should have clarified when we first started that there is a way to go in and tell Google Docs to turn off those emails and notifications so you don't get them. So I got a couple notifications before I remembered to turn that off, and then no notifications from any of the comments. So when I looked at it this morning, I didn't know how many comments there were. I didn't even know if Nell or Connor had read at all, because Rose was the first one to start reading mine. I turned off the comments real fast.
Well, can I say that I have done it both ways, because I have sent people my novels through Google Doc. It's actually quite ironic, because I would see the comments in my email and naturally I would just open it and read it, and then I would get very depressed because I was like, they don't like my novel and they don't like my stuff and they think my writing is terrible. But then the next morning, because I like to read my stuff on my computer itself, and so the next morning I would go to my computer and then I would read the comments and I'm like, oh wait, it's not that bad, that's fine. Like, what? So that is helpful for my brain, because I have to be depressed first, because before I'm like, oh no, it's not that bad. And I think Rose knows this very well, because while we are look at her nodding because while we are doing a Zoom meeting, then they would be giving me comments and I'm like, yeah, okay, I hear you. And they're just like, you good? And And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. And they're like, sure.
Always.
At least you know what to expect from me all the time. I'm consistent in that at least. But then with this one, and because we started doing it differently with our beta reading group, I kind of got accustomed to it and I like it. And so when we did this part, I don't know, for me, the weird part is when I beta read someone's novel and I ask them questions, to me, it's rhetorical questions. I'm like, I don't want to know the answer. Because 5 seconds later, I've forgotten what comment I'm going to give you. Then to me, I'm like, why are you commenting back to me? I'm like, well, why? I'm like, I've forgotten what you wrote about like 5 minutes ago. So I'm like, I don't understand this. So that is me personally. But also, I'm like, I think if it's something big in the sense that you're like, okay, I don't understand what you meant by this comment, then that's fine. By all means, you can like reply back and say, what did you actually mean by this comment? But yeah, usually when I like ask something, I'm like, it's for you to think. It's not for me to know, if that makes sense.
We might see that demonstrated here in a minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're used to, me and Sarah being used to replying to each other and having that discussion in the comments. But also it's not always for you. Sometimes it's like, I know what I'm thinking right now in this moment, and I just need to write it down. So I'll reply to your comment as a reminder to future me when I'm editing to put it in.
I like that. That makes more sense. That makes more sense. And now I know that I don't have to answer your questions. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Actually, I don't know anything about you, Connor. So tell me a little bit more about yourself. Like, what do you write? Because I know what Rose writes. And I think our listeners knows what Rose writes as well. But what do you delve your fingers into?
Fantasy is pretty much all I've written. I'm not picky about the kind of fantasy. Like my first novel was modern fantasy. I've done a little bit of dark, some high fantasy. So kind of all over the board. I've done some sci-fi. Haven't gone outside of that though.
I mean, if you like it, you like it. So
Yeah.
I hear you. I mean, I'm romance 100%. Rose just likes to confuse me all the time. So
I'll do anything.
the other thing that I also kind of thought about while we were doing this exercise is that I feel it's very important to know your beta readers. I will take an example. So I saw the comments Sarah was giving back to what I commented on her pages. And if I didn't know Sarah, I would have thought that she was mad at me or she was offended about what I was saying. because of the way she was replying to me. But because I know Sarah, I was just like, oh no, it's fine, because I know how Sarah will respond to things or the way she phrases things. And so I think that is also kind of the nice thing about, having a beta group and having known each other's, I almost want to say, niches and quirks and ways of wording things, because then you won't take offense as easily or take feedback as cruel or whatever you want to see it as. So I don't know if any of you experienced the same kind of vibes, Connor, Rose?
Not really from this group. I will say that I've gotten used to, that's just something you got to get used to. And beta reading is getting the crap kicked out of your manuscript. If I can be candid, Sarah joined our existing reading group. Before that, I think we were afraid to get the claws out. You know what I mean by that? And then Sarah joined, and the first week just shredded my manuscript. And I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but I read that and then I went, crack the knuckles. Okay, claws are coming out. Let's do this, So, which was great. I needed that feedback. I needed all of that. And it has resulted in a much, much better book than it would have been otherwise. But you really need to get the claws out if you're going to make your book better. Period.
Absolutely.
I tend to be very blunt, and I tell people that when I read for them, I'm like, only let me read for you if you want to hear my pure thoughts, because I am not putting any filter on this. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm going to tell you exactly how I am reading this and how it is coming off to me and how I understand writing, because I read it like a reader first. I do get a little blunt, but on that same vein, I also tell myself, I've highly controlled myself. If I'm swapping manuscripts with somebody, I never, ever read any of their comments on my writing until I have finished completely doing their writing. Because as Connor said, like the claws came out, like he read my stuff and he...
Revenge.
Yes, I have a visceral reaction when I read comments from people. I don't want that mindset when I'm reading your stuff. I want to read it with a clear mind, like you are the best writer in the world, and here are the things that, are bothering me or whatever. And so I'm very, very controlled in not reading any comments that anybody says on any of my stuff until I am completely done with all the beta reading I have to do, because I've noticed it'll leak into other people's stuff too, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think this is why in every beta group that I've been in, I've always advocated for meeting each other first. And so I'll do the comments in private myself, and then we'll meet for the first time, and then everyone gets to know the way each other talks. And so like they'll be able to see that I'm rarely serious, and so they can like add that inflection on, like, oh, she's not being mean, she's just like thinking out loud. And so I think you need to try and take as much of the like personal stuff out of it, and whichever way you can deal with that is the way. If it's meeting people first so that you can put a face and a voice to these sentences, because you can read everything in a snarky voice, you can read everything in a nice puffy voice, but like until you've actually heard that person speak to you, you don't really know which one you're meant to be choosing.
Absolutely, totally agree with that. The thing that I really like about this part of the beta reading is that you can get that one-on-one personal interaction, so you can clarify things, but also see their feeling. And I kind of like your way of doing it, where you see no comments until you've talked. I like it for that aspect, that you get their facial expressions about your reading and their real feelings before you're reading comments that might just be blunt because it's a comment and I don't want to make a paragraph long comment.
So I always advocate for beta readers. They're the best things ever. And thank you, Rose and Connor, for taking the time to come onto this episode and share your writing with us, because they're all our babies. And so even though you do it numerous times, the more novels you write, they will always be your babies. So it will always be like a little part of yourself that you give to someone and be like, don't kill them, please.
And especially being so brave to put it on a platform like this that is going out into the world, your writing and critiquing of it. This is one of the hardest parts of writing, is accepting and understanding the critiques and being able to work that interpersonals when somebody's a little more blunt like me or versus somebody a little more quiet like Nell, to be able to work those personalities. And thank you so much for being willing to put your work out on a big platform for everybody to see. We're not going to put up your actual pages, but to be able to allow us to speak about these ideas and these pages on a broad platform.
Yeah, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you. I've really enjoyed it.
Do either of you have any last advice for looking for beta readers for the first time or getting feedback for the first time?
If it's your first time, I would, if you can have a moment between having the comments and then discussing them, take it, because I think it's always going to be horrible the first time you get them. Either you already are worried it's no good, and then somebody says a little tiny tweak and you're like, oh, it is terrible, or you think it's amazing and then somebody says some really big things and you're like, oh, what? No. So I think just try and get your thick skin on, and just know that the comments should all be coming from a good place. Nobody's trying to rip you apart because they hate you or anything like that, or they don't want you to succeed. We're only giving you comments because we want your story to be better and we want you to be the best you can be. So just try and frame everything with that in mind.
I mean, I was just going to say that, but I can. Sarah,
good job, Rose, stealing it.
Sarah did tell me to pocket something I mentioned like a month ago in our reading group and bring it up. I can't remember the context that I brought it up in, but essentially it's the idea that for a long time, I thought everything in my book had to come from me. It all had to be my ideas, and that isn't necessarily the case. Your beta reading group can be a goldmine for ideas, and like There was a section of my book we were hashing out and I just couldn't figure it out. So I was like, you know what? For this week, I'm not uploading a chapter. I'm uploading my outline and we are going to discuss the problems in it because I need help figuring out how to make this work. It is a good thing to mine your readers for ideas, for things that'll make it work. Don't be afraid to do that. Doesn't all have to come from you.
Absolutely, 100%, yeah.
Just because you're getting the ideas, it doesn't mean that it's not going to be you at the end of it, because whatever you write is your voice and your way of saying it. Like, I'll say something in a completely different way to the way Nell would say it or Sarah would say it. So don't be afraid.
It's still your story and your characters and your book.
And your
Absolutely.
tears.
And this is what acknowledgements pages are for, is to thank all the people who helped make the book what it is. One of the things I need to get better at is writing down all the names of all the people who have helped me so that I can remember them when I publish the book to go into that acknowledgements page.
Yeah, 100%.
We like to keep things short here on Tea and Tales, which is why we are going to have 3 parts to this episode. This is the end of the first informational portion, and we will have 2 more parts that are the review. So if you'd like to go on to the review, keep on listening. We want to get your fingers back on the keyboard and your pens back on paper.
And if you like what we are doing here and you love the guests that we have on and the topics that we are talking about, then go follow us on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook at Tin Tales Podcast, and on Twitter /X and TikTok at Podcast Details. And go to that purple icon on your device and go help us go up, up, up. It's our moment.
Happy writing.
Bye.